and welcome back to my channel. It's been a minute since I last posted a video, and my apologies for having ghosted you all for close to a year. Sometimes life gets in the way and I had to deprioritize a couple of things, and the channel became one of those things, unfortunately. However, from the coming year, I do plan to post regularly, and it's one of my goals to post at least 12 book reviews. So let's keep our fingers crossed. I do plan on working hard and managing my time better to be able to post videos for y'all. I know y'all look forward to book reviews and the reading sessions. One of the other things that I plan to do in the coming year is develop short form content, because I've been told that people sometimes don't want to put in 15 minutes for a big book review or a recommendation. So that's another thing that I will experiment with. So please look forward to that, because I certainly do. Before the new year comes around, I thought let's do a look back at what is it that I've been reading in the past 1 year, where I haven't been posting. However, the habit of reading was still very much a part of my life. So I thought let's take a look back at what is it that I have read and or heard, because there have been a lot of audiobooks in the mix as well, and a small mini haul of books that I have purchased this year but plan to read in the coming year. So that's the video for today. Let's get straight into it. The first books that I finished in 2023 was Just Kids by Patti Smith. I came across this book on Instagram on Katie Holmes's profile, and it immediately caught my attention, and I started to do a little digging into Patti Smith. I had heard about her as a singer but didn't really know that she was also a very well accomplished writer, and I fell in love with the synopsis because it is a love story, and picked up the book. The basis of the book is, like I mentioned, a love story between Patti and a very, very well-renowned photographer, Robert Mapplethorpe. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. However, when the two of them actually met, they were just a bunch of kids. They were starting their life, had not found their respective vocations. And what I love about the book is that it talks about how even though you might not remain in an intimate romantic relationship with someone, the love that you have for each other can remain a lifetime. And I find that so intriguing, that even though the romantic part of a relationship was very short-lived, the impact that that person's love has on your life lasts forever. And that's the basis of Just Kids. I would not recommend this for children, because there is a lot of mature content in there, talks about life in the 70s, 80s. So not really for children. However, if you are a fan of historic love stories and that's based on someone's real life, I would definitely suggest this book. The next book that I finished was Unstoppable by Maria Sharapova, the very, very well-renowned tennis player. I have not read the book. I have heard it on Audible and really enjoyed it. It was narrated by Maria herself, talks about her incredible journey of how is it that she and her dad came to America, how she turned into this huge tennis star, and all the ups and downs in that journey, and how the two of them were always together. So I really enjoyed that. The book did end very abruptly. I felt like I didn't get closure or didn't really understand what the next chapter was. So I would have enjoyed a little more detail into to the very end of the book. But it is based on a person's real life. So I guess in the time that she was writing the book, that's she didn't have much to say at that point in time. But overall, really enjoyed the story, and if you are a tennis fan, then I would highly recommend it, and get it on Audible, because it's just a lot more fun when you hear the author read it out to you, especially when it's such a renowned person in the field of sports. Book number 3 from 2023 is What I Know for Sure by Oprah Winfrey. If you are a regular on my channel, you will know that this book has been featured before. I have a huge video on it, a complete dedicated video, and I will link it below in case you haven't seen it. And if you are a regular on my channel, you will know I love Oprah. She's like my spiritual guru. But I try to read this book once a year, every year since I actually discovered it. It is a collection of essays from her magazine called O Magazine, where she would write an article on the title What I Know for Sure. And it's based on all the experiences that she's had in life and all the lessons that she has learned. And the lessons that are in this book really help me get perspective. Sometimes, when I don't have clarity, it helps me get clarity. So I try to read it whenever needed, but definitely once a year. So this was book number 3 from 2023. Book number 4 from 2023 is called No Filter by Paulina, who is a beautiful, beautiful model. She's been one of the top models in the world, and it's a collection of essays, all autobiographical, talks about her life in, as a child, in adolescence, when she, became a model, how she sort of broke into the modeling world, her relationship with her rock star husband, and just everything in between, and most importantly, her relationship with herself. Really enjoyed the book. Again, narrated by the author herself, and I just love hearing the voice of the author as they talk about their life. So that was No Filter. Really enjoy it and would highly recommend it. The next book that I got on Audible is called She Said. Now this book is way out of my comfort zone. It's not something that I reach out for. It's based on the Harvey Weinstein case. It talks about how the investigative journalism took place. It's not something, like I said, that I would reach out to. It's just not something I would enjoy, and that's the reason why I didn't get the physical book. I got the Audible version because it was just easier for me to retain if someone was reading it out to me. But I really enjoyed it because it was just an eye-opener in so many ways. It's very heavy with timelines and different people who were involved in it. So I'm just glad I got the Audible version, because if I would have got the physical copy, I know I would have lost interest. Not even halfway. I don't think I would have gotten through halfway as well, because it's a very heavy book, deals with a very heavy topic. But because I got the Audible version, I was able to get through it. Like I mentioned, eye-opener. Just I think it was written in such a way that it has now intrigued my interest in investigative journalism, and I would definitely be looking forward to more books in this space. So the book She Said is great for anybody who is trying to get out of their comfort zone when it comes to reading new types of books. Book number 5 for the previous year was The Journey, Big Panda and Tiny Dragon. I will not go into too many details because I plan to make a dedicated video on this book. However, let me just quickly show you the beautiful watercolor work that's in here. I don't know if it's completely visible, but it's a beautifully illustrated book. I will create a whole video on this, so please look forward to it. However, if you're not gonna wait for that video and would like a recommendation, then 10 on 10 for this book. Please go out and get it. You won't regret it. It's an easy read. It's great for children, it's great for adults, and something that I will reread. So I really enjoyed this one. Book number 6 was an audiobook. Okay, so you can see there is a theme this year. I didn't get a lot of time to read, but I wanted to keep literature as a part of my life. So Audible helped me quite a bit. So the next book is called Tiny Beautiful Things. I have a list of the books that I've read right here. So Tiny Beautiful Things is by Cheryl Strait. She's the author of the very popular book Wild. I haven't read that book. I have seen the movie, and I actually came across this book because of a TV show which is based on this book. However, it's a very dramatized version of it. So Tiny Beautiful Things is a collection of advice column pieces. So just to give you a background, Cheryl Strayed used to be a ghostwriter for a newspaper where people would ask her questions and she would hand out advice in the form of an advice column. It was called Dear Sugar, and it was her sort of pseudonym, so to speak. And this book is a collection of all the brilliant advice that she's handed out for all the different situations for which people would write to her. It's a very beautifully written book, the advice that she gives. She has such stellar lines in there, and when I came across these lines in the TV show, I said, oh, I must get my hands on this book. Again, I just didn't have the time to read, so I bought the audiobook. The book is also narrated by Cheryl Strayed herself, which, I mean, I probably am repeating myself too much saying that I love it, but that's just the truth. So Tiny Beautiful Things, great collection of advice, just beautiful lines in there, beautiful situations that she's described. All the advice that she gives is based on her own personal experiences. So she's just not handing out advice in a very preachy sort of way. It's really based on her own experiences as a human being, and she really goes deep into sharing her personal stories when she's giving someone advice on what they should do in their situation. So I really love the book, highly recommend it. I mean, this you could go either way. You could get the audiobook or you could read the physical book as well. Like I said, because the lines are just so beautiful, reading it would also be of great pleasure. One of the really lovely lines that is stuck in my head from the book is, and I'm probably butchering it, so it's not like a proper quote from the book, but it goes something to the effect of, God is not in your prayers, but He is in the people who pray for you. And I think that's just such a beautiful concept, and it's so true. So Tiny Beautiful Things was, I don't know what number we are on in terms of books, maybe 6 or 7, but either way, great book, definitely would recommend it. One of my really favorite books from 2023 is You Can Heal Your Life by Louise. I know a lot of people will sort of roll their eyes when it comes to this book, because it is a book on using affirmations to change your life or to change your situations. There are a lot of parts in this book that are slightly woo-woo, so to speak, and it doesn't resonate with me, and that's what I've read in the reviews as well. However, there is a lot in this book that does resonate with me. How do you change the negative thought patterns in your head? How do you replace them with positive words, and the impact that it can have on your life and your health? I think when Louise Hay wrote this book, I don't know if there was a lot of scientific research behind it, but because I listen to a lot of health and wellness podcasts, there is a lot of science that's talking about, or research is being done in how just changing your thought about a certain thing or a situation can help you overcome it better. It can change the cortisol levels in your body. It can help you overcome anxiety or thoughts that maybe lead to anxiety. So overall, I really enjoyed understanding how do affirmations work, how you can incorporate it into your life, and also at the end of the book, let me just open it up, she shares a list of different physical manifestations of the negative thoughts that usually go on in people's heads. We live in a life with social media and everybody is just running around all the time, and how sometimes you get so detached from yourself that can have a manifestation in the form of illnesses. So she gives a list of different illnesses, what could be the cause, what is the negative thought pattern that could be causing it, and a positive affirmation that you can use to get over it. Now, I know for a fact this is not everybody's cup of tea, and like I said, a lot of things didn't even resonate with me. However, I have chosen to pick up the things that do resonate with me, the things that I've heard on a lot of health and wellness podcasts. So I I really enjoyed it. So it's definitely one of my favorites from this year, and very different from what I'm usually used to when it comes to my reading choices. So it's one of those take it or leave it kind of books from this year. Okay, so the two books that I'm going to mention now are books that I have not completely finished, but I'm hoping to finish by the end of this year. I think we have a few days left in this year, I think when the video comes out. So the first book is Roman Stories by Jhumpa Lahiri. Now, I absolutely love Jhumpa Lahiri as an author, and Unaccustomed Earth and Interpreter of Maladies, it goes down in my list of all-time favorite books. I had Interpreter of Maladies as one of the books when I was doing my undergrad in my literature, in literature as a subject, and I just fell in love with short stories, I think, because I think one of the reasons is Jhumpa Lahiri. So I've been waiting for a really long time for her to come out with a book of short stories. Now, if you've heard of this book, or if you're on social media, I'm sure you've seen this in a lot of places. There is a lot of, I would say, criticism or a few negative reviews out there saying, oh, it doesn't have the kind of depth that her previous books have had, and so on and so forth. Now the original version is written in Italian and then it's been translated into English, so on and so forth. There is a lot of that. It has been written in Italian, then translated into English. I personally believe whenever you write a book in one language and then it gets translated into another, the feeling or the emotions that that particular native language has is never translated into English. So that is true. However, now maybe call me biased because I really love the author. The book is not as bad as some of the reviews that I have read, honestly. Diaspora, which Jhumpa Lahiri is known for, underlining theme throughout. It talks about identity, it talks about the immigrant experience, it's very descriptive of Rome. So, I mean, overall, and I'm halfway through it, I haven't finished the rest of it yet, but from what I have read up until now, I am enjoying it. Do I enjoy it as much as her other books? No, but I'm not going to discount it completely. I would say if you are a fan of her work, then definitely go out and get it. And if you have not read anything by Jhumpa Lahiri before, I would say go out and get those two other books, An Unaccustomed Earth and The Interpreter of Maladies. They're just brilliant. However, I think this is a good read as well. So halfway through on this book. The next book is 8 Rules of Love by Shetty. Now, I was ecstatic when I heard that Shetty is coming out with a book and the theme of love. I mean, I love love, but slightly disappointed by the book. I haven't finished it, so maybe when I do, I might fall in love with it. So the thing is, I love Shetty's podcast on purpose. He has some of the most brilliant minds on the show, some celebrities that I have loved over the years, and there are a lot of lessons on love and relationships and self-love that I have learned or understood through his podcast and the guests that he has featured on the podcast. Now, I was hoping that this book is going to be a collection of those gems and then a lot of knowledge from Shetty thrown in there. However, I personally found the book to be slightly academic, and I'm just not happy with the structure of it, unfortunately. The knowledge in there is great, but just the structure and the layout is slightly academic for my taste, which makes it a slow read. However, I will finish this book because I mean I love Shetty, so I'm sure when I get to the end of it, I will come out with some real gems. But as of now, I am halfway through it, hoping to finish it in the first quarter of the coming year. But I wanted to mention that this is one of the books that I have read, even if it's halfway through. So maybe I might do a video on this next year. I don't know. Let's see how it goes. So those were the books of 2023. I don't know what the count comes to, maybe about 9, 10, 10 and a half, I'm not sure. So yeah, overall I think it was a great year. I don't like to do the numbers game. I know a lot of people have like a goal in mind. I'll do like 10 books, 12 books, 15, 40 books, 100, I don't know. I'm sure there are a number of people out there who do like 100 books in a year. I don't like to do the numbers game. Reading brings me joy, so I try to incorporate that into my life, even if it's just one book a year or 100 books a year, doesn't make a difference. So that was my year in books, and like any avid reader, I have bought a number of books this year which I plan to read in the coming year. So let's do a mini haul of sorts and see what is it that I've purchased this year. The first book is called The Book of Hope. This Extraordinary Stories of Ordinary Indians. This book is a collection of true stories, I believe, inspiring stories, and this is, it's been collected by the Better India, which I believe is a Facebook page, or maybe they're on Instagram now, I don't know, but they used to be a really popular, and maybe still are a really popular Facebook page. They talk about all the great things that are happening in India and how ordinary people are doing really extraordinary work. So as an Indian, I really look forward to this. So that's book number 1 from my haul. The next book is Triveni by Gulzar. Again, if you are a regular on my channel, you know I love Gulzar Saab, I love Urdu poetry, and the form of Triveni is very unique to Gulzar Saab. I'm not going to go too much into what the book is, because I've not started it very well in any case. However, I will do an entire video on this book once I'm done with it. So look forward to that in the coming year. So that's book number 2. Book number 3 is Light on Pranayam by BKS Iyengar. I am a huge fan of breath work, really wanting to get more involved in it as a practice in the coming year, and wanted to upgrade my knowledge on pranayam as one of the limbs of yoga, so hence this book. Next up is Moving Inward, The Journey to Meditation. I believe this has an element of meditation in it, however, again talks a lot about breath work, the different techniques of breath work, how do you make it into a habit of practice. So I actually came across this book in like a library somewhere, and I mean look at this cover, it's very calming. So I want to get into it, and then let's see what it's about. But yeah, so this is up in number 3, I believe, in my haul. And last but certainly not the least is The Burnout by Sophie Kinsella. I'm not sure if my pronunciation is correct, so apologies if it is incorrect. I remember reading a book by this author when I was in the 12th grade. I believe it was called The Undomesticated Goddess, and I think I got it in like one of the Reader's Digest sort of collection of books, and it was funny, it was light, and I'm hoping that this thick book is also funny and light, and it's fiction. So yeah, I mean, let's see. I'm sure there is love involved in here. So like I mentioned, love. So yeah, I think I have a feeling I might really enjoy this, and if I do, maybe we'll do a huge video on it, like a reading session and a review. So yeah, 1, 2, 5 books for my mini haul. I might buy another book just before the year ends, who knows. But yeah, that was my small haul of books that I will read in 2024. So that's it for this video. Like I mentioned, I really hope to do a lot more videos in the coming year, whether it's long format or short format. Either way, you will see more of me, and I hope you'll look forward to seeing more of me. Having said that, please comment below and let me know what are the books that you've read in 2023, and yeah, wishing you all a very, very happy new year. I hope this new year brings a lot of joy and love and luck into your lives. And as always, keep smiling and keep shining. Bye.